Hi guys, it's me, Melly. Today's video is going to be the December wrap-up video of 2015. I read 6 books. I don't have the physical books with me, not that I don't own them. I just was lazy and didn't feel like gathering them together because I'm kind of reorganizing things in my bookshelves, where my books are. It's not shelves, but I'm kind of like moving them around and finding homes for them because I don't really have a bookshelf. Anyway, so let's just get started. So the first book I read was Winter by Marissa Meyer, and that is the 4th book in the Lunar Chronicles series, and it's also the final book. I'm not really going to get much into detail because I don't want to spoil anything for anybody if you haven't read it, but it's on your TBR. But let's just say that I'm sad that the series is over. I'm sad that it was such a good series. And the writing was really, really good. And it, took me out of a comfort zone. When the Lunar Chronicles, I guess you could say, would be dystopian fiction or, fantasy. I don't think it's really fantasy, but more dystopian because it's futuristic. So, and that's really not my type of thing, but the way the stories were written, it didn't feel futuristic to me, except for the android aspect of it, the robot aspect of it, and the fact that there are people called lunars that live on the moon. But besides that, it did not feel futuristic. I mean, it wasn't over the top, crazy futuristic. Too much, at least. And I really enjoyed the series. I stepped out of my comfort zone while reading it. Because, as I said, again, that's not normally my genre or the type of books that I read. The next book that I read was Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, which is also not a typical read for me. One, because it's a middle grade magical fantasy, I guess you could say, because it's witches and wizards and things that are not a normal, I guess magical fiction, magical fantasy type. I don't really know how it falls into multiple categories, I would say. But I'm very late again to the Harry Potter world because I wasn't really interested in it. I've not seen the movies. I mean, I've seen bits and pieces of the movies, but I've not seen the movies all the way through. So I've never really, I didn't really know anything about it. I kind of went in blind in a sense. I mean, I knew the basis of the story, but I didn't really know details. So, and I'm glad I did read it because it actually caught my interest, and I will continue the series. I mean, I'm not going to go crazy about it, but it's, I kind of like the characters. I actually, when I started reading it, and the word muggle came up for the first time, I actually went downstairs and told my husband, "You're a muggle," and he looked at me like I was crazy and was like, "What the hell is a muggle?" And I didn't say anything besides that. And the other thing I loved about it was that it was magical, but not really to the point where unbelievable. I mean, obviously, it's not something that's possible, at least, in our world, but it wasn't exaggerated. The storyline's not really exaggerated, at least in my my mind. It was good for imagination. It's a good imaginative story. And it's a middle grade kids read, so, but I enjoyed it, and I'm a mother of 3 kids, so if I enjoyed it, now I know why. Anyway, on to my next 3rd book, which was And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. Now, I love a good mystery. Agatha Christie is, you can't compare her to anybody else, or her works to anybody else, because you can't. Agatha Christie is in a level on, she's on a level of her own. Now, I've never read an actual Agatha Christie book, not that I don't own any. I do have an ebook of hers from iBooks, and also on my Kindle. It's the same book, it's just two different platforms that I have it on. Just for whatever reason, I don't know. Anyway, but this was a great whodunit with a twist, I guess you could say, because it confused me at the end. I kind of didn't know who done it, even though they clearly explained it. I was still in my mind thinking, how is that possible? I'm confused. How is, like, I had to reread the end of the book again, because I was like, okay, they just explained it, how it happened or how it was done, but it doesn't make sense. But that is Agatha Christie. That's what made her such a great author, is that you had to really think about, like, how is that possible? And I really enjoyed it, and I will be reading another Agatha Christie book in the future, hopefully. The next book I read, I'm not remembering the author's name, but I got it from Overdrive from my library, and it's Horror Store, and it's basically about a knockoff type IKEA store, and these weird things are happening. So the manager of the store kind of recruits a few employees to spend the night, and all these weird things happen. And it actually freaked me out. I read it, I believe, in like 2 days, 2 nights, because I read it at night while, my son was sleeping, before I would fall asleep. And it's not a book you want to read at night in the dark when all is quiet, because it didn't scare me, it more of spooked me, which for me is a little bit different. I was spooked out because it's like, wow, but it didn't scare me. Like, I wasn't scared like something was going to jump out at me, but it was a good story. It was a quick read too, so that's always good. Anyway, on to my next book, Zoe Letting Go, by, oh my god, why can't I think of the author's name? I didn't write it down. Anyway, Zoe Letting Go is about a girl who ends up in not a mental institution, but more of like it's not a hospital. It was a home for eating disorders, but she doesn't understand why she's there. She doesn't remember anything. She doesn't understand why she's there, and it's her way. She writes letters to this best friend she has, and it kind of goes back and forth from her memories and things that have happened. Therapy that she's in with one of the therapists, trying to figure out what's going on, what she's not remembering, and why she's there. She's trying to figure this out. And at the end, she does remember. I'm not going to spoil it, but she does remember what happened, and it kind of takes off from there. She's there for multiple reasons. She's there because, yes, she has an eating disorder, but she doesn't know she has one because she doesn't remember. She had a traumatic event that kind of set off a chain of events of why she doesn't remember. She kind of shuts down. And she shuts down because she feels as if it's her fault. And of this traumatic event is her fault. And her mother finally sends her to this place, and then she does remember, so they tell you kind of what happened. And they're trying to tell her, you may have started something, but you did not control the ending of it. You had nothing to do with the ending of it. You did not know. You could not help what happened. And she kind of has to come to terms with that. And I believe she kind of does in a sense. But she's You know, what happened was crazy. But again, I'm not going to spoil it in case you happen to want to read the book. The next book I read, the next and last book I read was Harry Potter Chamber of Secrets, which is the second book in the series. That was the last book I read for the year. And I read it on ebook from Kindle. I actually, for the month of December, because I couldn't get the second book from the library, I subscribed to Kindle Unlimited for the month, so I can try to read the book. And I did read it. Now, again, I'm not going to go into it because I'm sure those who have read the Harry Potter series has heard everything about the series that you could possibly hear. But I'm going to say one thing. The Chamber of Secrets was really crazy. Like, it was more crazy than the first one because in the first one, he's kind of finding out who he is and what he's doing. And, you know, what his legacy, I guess, is. But in the second one, he's already, you know, accepted it. And then he kind of gets pulled into this situation. And he figures out the situation. And he saves the day. And so I like that. That, you know, first he's being blamed for it. And then he figures it out. And he fixes it. And he saves the day. So that's like really like the awesome. Like awesome. I'm going to probably read the next series in the book. But probably towards the end of January I'll put that on my TBR. But that's another video. So anyway guys, that's it for my December wrap up. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys have a good start to your year. I actually did start one book for the year. But I'll get into that in my TBR video that I'm going to do. Maybe not today, but probably sometime tomorrow. Or maybe tonight. I don't know. It depends. Because I have to kind of gather some books together that I want to read. And since I'm kind of like rearranging or reorganizing, it's going to take me a minute. So anyway, I hope you guys have a good day. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.